Good morning, Facebook land. I'm sitting here with my famous favorite book, The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. Again, The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. If you don't have it in your collection already, I highly suggest. It is my #1 book suggestion. So I just wanted to share a piece from the chapter entitled Immortality. Within each chapter there are multiple sections. I only have a bit of time to share this morning, so I'm going to share the two sections. One of them is called Shall We Have a Body Hereafter? And the other is called The Ether of Science. So here we go. Through introspection, I know that I am, and by observation I note that when death comes, this I am appears no longer to be. The body lies cold, inert, lifeless. Its warmth, color, and responsiveness have fled. Is it possible for one observing this process to doubt that something tangible and real has left this plane? When the body is given back to the native elements from which it sprang, the knowing, willing, and thinking factors that constitute human personality and an individualized stream of consciousness have departed. The table has 4 legs, yet it does not walk. The ear does not hear, nor does the tongue wag unless there is someone to wag it. The brain does not think. If the brain were endowed with power from on high, it would think on forever. Isolate it, and it will not think. It is the thinker using the brain who thinks. There is also one using the power of vision, looking through the windows of the eyes, who sees. The soul needs a physical body here, else it would not have evolved one. But when by reason of disease, decay, or accident, the physical body is no longer an adequate instrument through which the soul may function, it lays the present body aside and continues to function with a more subtle one. When we pass from this plane, shall we become spirits, or shall we have tangible bodies? Form is necessary to self-expression. We reiterate, there can be no consciousness without something of which to be conscious. It is one of the first laws of consciousness to clothe itself in form. The soul clothes itself in form here, and if it continues to live after the passing of the physical body, it is reasonable to conclude that it will still need and have a body. If the soul can create and sustain a body here, there is no reason to deny its ability to create and sustain one hereafter. We are spirits now as much as we ever shall be. The laws of mind and spirit do not change with the passing of the physical body. But the question might be asked, from what substance would the soul create a new body? The new idea of ether supplies a theory to fit the need. So the next chapter is the ether of science. The next section, I should say. Science is rapidly proving that there is much more in the universe than we can see with the naked eye. We are now being taught that ether is more solid than matter. We know that the ether penetrates everything. It is in our bodies, at the center of the earth, and throughout all space. This means that within our present bodies there is a substance more solid than the body which we see. This idea is very far-reaching, for it shows that we might have a body within the physical one, which could be as real as the one of which we are accustomed to think. If instinctive man has molded the outer body in form, why should it not mold the inner one into definite form? There is every reason to suppose that it does, and no reason to suppose the opposite. In all probability, there is a body within a body to infinity. We do not depart from reason when we assume this, for while we say that 2 bodies cannot occupy the same space simultaneously, we must remember that we are talking about only one plane of expression. And the plane upon which we are now living with its form of matter is probably but one of innumerable planes, each having its own matter with its corresponding form. The new idea of matter and ether has proved that form can lie within form without interference, for it has been shown conclusively that there is a substance which can occupy the same space which our body does. Once this theory is accepted, it enables us to better understand the saying, there are celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial. There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. No doubt as time goes on it will be proved that there is something still finer than the ether. This may go on to infinity. There is every reason to suppose that we have a body within a body to infinity, and it is our belief that we do have. The resurrection body, then, will not be snatched from some cosmic shelf as the soul soars aloft. It is already within, and we may be certain that it will be a fit instrument for the future unfoldment of the soul. If this is true, and if remembrance links events together in a continuous stream of consciousness and form, then the future body will resemble this one, except that it will be free from disease, old age, or whatever hinders a more complete flow of the spirit. It would seem then that we have a spiritual body now and need not die to receive one. We now remember the past and have outlived many physical bodies during this life. So it looks as if we were already immortal and need not die to take on immortality. I really like that line. We now remember the past and have outlived many physical bodies during this life. So it looks as if we were already immortal and need not die to take on immortality. If there are many planes of life in consciousness, as we firmly believe, perhaps we only die from one plane to another. This thought makes a strong appeal and seems reasonable. Some think that death robs us of the objective faculties, and that we pass out in a purely subjective state, but personally, we are unable to follow the logic of such an assumption. To suppose that the objective faculties die with the brain is to suppose that the brain thinks and reasons. This is proved to be false through the experience of death itself, for if the brain could think, it would think on and on forever. No, it is not the brain that thinks. The thinker thinks through the brain, perhaps, but of itself, the physical brain has no power to think or feel. Detach the brain, and it will not formulate ideas nor work out plans. Again, detach the brain, and it will not formulate ideas nor work out plans. The thinker alone can think. It is not merely pleasing and satisfactory to suppose that we pass from this life to the next in full and complete retention of our faculties. It's actually logical. Jesus revealed himself to his followers after his resurrection to show them that death is but a passing to a higher sphere of life and action. To know that we maintain an identity independent of the physical body is proof enough of immortality. This, together with the fact that remembrance maintains a constant stream of recollection, and the realization that mentality can operate independently of the body, performing all of its normal functions without the aid of the body, and that the new theory of matter and ether furnishes proof of the possibility of a body within a body to infinity, and that the inner man is constantly forming matter into the shape of a body, all of these evidences should prove to us that we are not going to attain immortality, but that we are now immortal. Our contention is not that dead men live again, but that a living man never dies. I really love that last line, so I'll say it one more time before I conclude. Our contention is not that dead men live again, but that a living man never dies. Thank you for allowing me to share a little piece from my favorite book. Again, it's The Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. Do find it. Let me know your thoughts. Love to hear some feedback. Wishing you all a beautiful day. Shalom.